The Mod Couple, written by Nick Confalone, is the third episode of MLP Season 8. And all things considered, it is one of the better episodes of the entire season. That may be in large part due to Maud returning, of course. Probably the biggest factor of it being so good is the fact that this episode has nothing to do with the school aspect, which plagues the entire season. It's definitely not a good episode, but when comparing it to others in the season, it's like Citizen Kane. Of course, you got the issue that it borrows the plot from Maud Pie from season 4, with the role of Maud passed on to Mudbriar for this episode, and it's quite derivative. It's basically Maud Pie beat for beat, but with some characters switched around. And there's no real attempt to make this familiar subject feel fresh, save the character of Mudbriar, played brilliantly by Adam Kirshner, sounding a lot like Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory.
Technically, due to the speleothems growing from the ceiling, this is more of a cavern than a cave.
And I can honestly say that Mudbriar is by far the best aspect of this particular episode. Some may say he's annoying, but I think he's the only bit of entertainment in a derivative episode. Which leads me to my next point. In an attempt to make things more entertaining, Pinky ends up being out of character. Sacrificing character for comedy is never a good sign, especially when the comedy isn't even that well written. I've always said this, and I really hate to say it, but Nick Confalone just cannot write for Pink. For when he does, she ends up either being too stereotypically annoying or bland and uninteresting. Mostly the former. This episode being no exception to that. Pink in this is contradictory to her character in A Friend Indeed, a much better episode, where she goes out of her way to befriend Cranky even though he's being a slight jerk throughout the entire episode. Whereas in The Mod Couple, after a single interaction with Mudbriar, Pink automatically hates everything about him. You could say that Pink hates Mudbriar because she's jealous of the fact that he's Ma's boyfriend and all that, and that's completely valid and a reason why I don't utterly hate this episode, but you have to take in mind that she started hating him before she even knew that he was dating Maud. So, it still irks me that Pinky's character was altered just so the episode can have some conflict. And those are really my major gripes I have with The Mod Couple. It's not a horrible episode, but it's definitely not a great one. But just because it's substandard doesn't mean it can't have good things. Like I mentioned, Mudbriar is a welcome addition to the episode and to the whole show as a whole. And while I may not fully be on board with him being Maud's boyfriend and all, I still enjoy his character for what he is. And while I may not like Starlight that much, I have to say that she was very well handled in this episode. She's always great in supporting roles like in this, where she shines through her personality and her willingness to help her friends. And of course, her affinity towards kites is always adorable.
I really like kites.
In short, The Mod Couple is derivative of old favorites, yet enjoyable in the season lacking such a factor. I may not like Pinky's out-of-character moments, but I think the overall episode is fun and entertaining regardless. With all that being said, I wish you farewell, and until next time.
But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
Yes.